Okay, here's problem number 1. We have two equations. We have x plus 2y equals 10, and we have 2x plus 4y equals 36. We're going to graph each equation and then find the solution. So to graph the first equation, I'm going to use the method of finding the slope-intercept form first, and the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, m times x plus b, and I want to get it in that form because I know that m is going to be my slope and b is going to be my y-intercept, and it makes it a lot easier to graph when you know those two things. So let's start with equation 1, x plus 2y equals 10. To get it in slope-intercept form, I need to subtract x from both sides. So if I subtract x from x, it disappears, it goes away, and then I subtract x from this side, from the right side, and it becomes negative x. So I have negative x plus 10. The 10 just comes down. Then I'm going to divide by 2. So 2 divided by 2 cancels out. That leaves you with y. Now right here we have negative x, but that's understood to be negative 1x. So I'm actually going to be dividing negative 1 by the 2, and that gives me this fraction. So it'll be negative 1/2 times x. And then I'm also dividing this 10 by the 2. So 10 divided by the 2 gives me 5. So my slope-intercept form is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5. Okay, now that I have the equation, step C is to graph. When you graph, the first point that you put on the graph is the y-intercept. Now, B is the y-intercept. In this problem, B is 5. That means it will cross the y-axis at 5. So that's my first point. Then I apply the slope, which is negative 1 over 2, and that tells me to go down 1 and then to the right 2. So I will start at 5 on the y-axis. I will go down 1 and to the right 2. That gives me another point. And if I continue to do that, it gives me several points that I can line up. So down 1 over 2 again, down 1 and over 2 again, etc., etc. And so I have a series of points. And now I just take a straight edge and draw this blue line through those points. All right, so that completes the first line. Now let's go to the second equation over here. I have 2x plus 4y equals 36. I want to get it into this slope-intercept form here, so I've got to get the y by itself. So I will first subtract 2x from the left side and from the right side. Subtracting 2x from the left, it cancels out. Subtracting 2x from the right, I get negative 2x, and then I bring down the 36. So I've got negative 2x plus 36 on the right. On the left, I still have the 4y. Now I have to divide by 4 on both sides. So 4 divided by 4 will cancel out, and I bring the y down. Now I'm going to be dividing negative 2 by 4. That's negative 2 over 4, which is a fraction, and that can be reduced to negative 1/2. So that gives me negative 1/2 x, and then this 36 is going to be divided by the 4 also. So that's 36 divided by 4 gives me this positive 9. Now this is in slope-intercept form, and I can graph this line by starting at 9 on the y-axis, because 9 is the b value, which is the y-intercept. So start here at 9, and I know that my slope is negative 1 over 2, just like the first one. So I will go down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, etc. And then I draw a line through those points. Now I can see that these two lines are parallel. They will never intersect. And so my answer is that we have parallel lines, they don't intersect, so ultimately there is no solution. to this problem because they do not intersect. Okay, here's number 2. We have two equations again, 7x minus 4y equals 3, and then we have 21x minus 12y equals 9. I'm going to use a different approach to graph these equations. Instead of using the slope-intercept form, I'm going to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. And the main reason for doing that is because I see that these numbers are not really divisible by each other. And so it's easier just to find x-intercepts and y-intercepts in that case. So step A, I'm going to find the x-intercept first. You find the x-intercept by letting y equal 0. So in the equation, 7x minus 4y equals 3, I'm going to be replacing this y with 0. So let's do that here. So we have 7x minus 4 times y, which is 0, equals 3. Now, what is 4 times 0? Well, that would be 0. So then I just get 7x minus 0 equals 3. 7x minus 0 is just 7x. So now I've got 7x equals 3. In this third line, I divide by 7 on both sides, and then I get x equals 3 over 7. In line 4, I write it as an ordered pair, so now I know that x is 3/7, and the y value was 0 because I let y equal 0 up here. So my ordered pair is 3/7, comma, 0. And then in step 5, I just plot that point, which is right here. It's that blue dot, which means to go to the right 3/7, which is less than 1, and then go up 0. So that would be this blue dot on the x-axis. Now step B is finding the y-intercept. And you find the y-intercept by letting x equal 0 in the equation above. So that would give me 7 times 0, because I replaced the x with 0, minus 4 times y equals 3. 7 times 0 is just 0, so that goes away, and I'm left with negative 4y equals 3. Now I can divide by negative 4 on both sides, so that gets me y equals negative 3/4. Now I write that as an ordered pair. I know y is negative 3/4, and x up here was equal to 0. So my ordered pair is 0, comma, negative 3/4. Then in step 5, I plot that point. 0, comma, negative 3/4 is going to be on the y-axis here, somewhere between the 0 and negative 1. So it's this red point. The next step is step C, which is drawing the line. So I just simply draw a straight line between the blue dot and the red dot. Okay, and that forms a straight line. Okay, now we will go to the second equation and do the same thing. So we have 21x minus 12y equals 9. We're going to find the x-intercept first by letting y equal 0. So I have 21x minus 12 times 0 equals 9. And that 0 is that's where y was. We're letting y equal 0. 12 times 0 is just 0, and that goes away. So now I just have 21x equals 9. Divide by 21 on both sides, and I get this fraction, x equals 9 over 21. And that can be reduced to 3 over 7. And then in line 4, I write it as an ordered pair where x is 3 over 7 and y is 0. And then I plot that point, and that happens to be the exact same point from the first line. So it's this blue dot here. Repeating the process for B, we want to find the y-intercept by letting x equal 0. So we have 21 times 0 minus 12y equals 9. 21 times 0 is just 0, so that disappears. And we get negative 12y equals 9. Divide by negative 12, and we have y equals the fraction negative 9 over 12, which then reduces to negative 3 over 4. Then in line 4, we write it as an ordered pair, where the x equals 0 from the top, and y was negative 3/4. So that's your ordered pair. And then in step 5, you plot the ordered pair, which is the blue dot here on the y-axis. Then in step C, we draw the line, and as you can see, since the line is going to pass through the exact same points as the first equation, so you really just end up with the exact same line as the first equation. So what happens in that case? When you have the same line coming from two different equations, it simply means that you have infinitely many solutions, and that is going to be the answer to this question. You have infinitely many solutions because the two lines merge into one, they overlap.